Get started, so I can give you guys your homework and get started on it. So the first type of problem we're going to look at is taking a polynomial and dividing it by a monomial. So we have 5x squared minus 12x plus 6 divided by 3. So we can separate this into 3 different components. I can take my 5x squared and divide that by 3. Then I can put my minus 12x, divide that by 3. And then my plus 6 and divide that by 3.
What's the answer?
No, we can go right to the answer. I'm just doing this for your notes. So 5x squared divided by 3, or sorry, 15x squared divided by 3 is 5x squared minus 12x divided by 3, which is 4x, plus 2 would be your answer. So me personally, I just kind of go, I do that division first. That would get you your 5x squared, right? Then I would do this next, which would get you your negative 4x, and then I would do this next, which would get you your plus 2. That's what I would do, and just jump right to the answer. All right. What about if I put some variables into play? So 5m to the third minus 9m squared plus 10m all over 5m squared. So again, I'm going to break it apart just for our notes. You don't necessarily need to do that. So 5m to the third over 5m squared minus 9m squared over 5m squared plus 10m over 5m squared. So our first fraction reduces to just an m. What does your second fraction reduce to? 9/5. So minus 9/5. What does the last one reduce to? Okay, to simplify that on your quiz you just took, what would you get? No negative exponents. Where's the 2, in the top or the bottom? Top over m. Because it would be 2 to the m to the negative 1, which just sends it down to the bottom. All right, how about this one? 8xy squared minus 9x squared y plus 6x squared y squared all over x squared y squared. See if we can just jump right to it. What's the first going to get us? Does the 8 have anything to divide with? Nope, so that's going to stay in 8. 8 over x, and then what happens to your y squareds? They cancel. Good. Now go to the middle. 9 over 1y. So your x squareds cancel. Right? And then it's going to be a plus 6. So plus 6. There's your answer. Done. So can we divide by monomials? Can we jump to binomials now? Okay. All right, so dividing a polynomial by a binomial is where our long division is going to come into play. Because now I can't just do 2m squared divided by m minus 2, and then m divided by m minus 2, and then negative 10 divided by m minus 2. That doesn't do anything for us. So this is where we have to set up our long division. So the divisor, which is the number in your denominator, is the number that goes outside of the long division. So this is m minus 2 going into 2m squared plus m minus 10. Do you remember how to do this? So now let's just do a basic. If I did 3 going into 184, what do? 3 times what gets you 18? 6. Then I multiply this to gets to 18. So using that same idea, ignore the minus 2 for now. What times m gets me to 2m squared? 2m. So I'm going to put 2m up top. So now I'm going to multiply my 2m to the m, but then I'm also going to have to multiply by 2m to the negative 2. So I'll have a resulting binomial underneath it. So I'm going to get 2m squared minus 4m. And then what did we do with these numbers over here in simple long division? We subtract them. So this is one big subtraction problem. Now remember on your quiz when you guys had to subtract a function minus a function, some of you guys forgot to distribute that negative to all the terms in the second polynomial, which resulted in an incorrect answer. So what I highly recommend is you do that distribution right away by just changing your signs. So this becomes a negative 2m squared. This becomes a positive 4m. Because what's going to happen is some people are going to put this result to be a negative 3m when it should not be, and it should be a 5m. So if you do a keep, change, right, because that's what you do when you minus something, keep, change, just change your signs right away so you don't make that mistake. So 2m squared minus 2m squared is 0. 1m plus 4m is 5m. And then what did we do next once we had the 0 here? Bring down the next term, which would be a minus 10. So then what do we do? So if this was 0, this was 4, then we see 3 times what gets me 4, right? Which in this case is 1, and then we do 3, and then we get our remainder. So the same thing over here. What times m gets me 5m? 5, so I'm going to put a plus 5 up top. Multiply it through, gets me 5m minus 10. Change all your signs in that second line, and then just add them straight up and down. What do we get? A remainder of 0. So since my remainder is 0, that is your answer up there. So my answer is 2m plus 5. No remainder. Did you follow that? Okay. So let's do one where we get a remainder and see what we do with that, because we can't just put r for remainder. Why would what? Go ahead. What's your question, Katie?
Where did you get the one? I don't know. I messed up somehow.
Okay. Keep moving.
Where did the one come from?
I don't know.
I put like a 1 up top. I don't know where it came from.
Oh. Okay, so now we're going to have a missing term in this problem. So we're going to take 3x to the third minus 2x plus 5 and divide it by x minus 3. Now look at what we're going to put underneath our long division sign. This has an exponent of 3. Do I have anything with an exponent of 2? No. So I'm going to have to put in a space filler for that x squared term. Then I have a 1, then I have a 3. Do I have any gaps in this? This is a degree of 1, this is a degree of 0, so there's no gaps. So we're good there. So I'm going to put x minus 3 on the outside. So now I have 3x to the third. I'm going to just throw in a plus 0x squared. And you'll see why in a second. Plus minus 2x minus, or plus 5. And I'll show why. Because when we multiply it through, I'm going to need something to do with that, right? All right, so x times what gets me 3x to the third? 3x squared. Multiplying that through gets us 3x squared minus 9x squared. If I didn't put that 0 there, use your imagination and envision this, the minus 2x would be directly above it, right? If this 0x wasn't there, 0x squared. And I can't combine minus 2x and a minus 9x squared because they're not like terms. So that's why you have to put in that space filler. Okay? Yes, it is cubed, thanks. 3x cubed. All right, so change the signs of everything just so we know that we're subtracting correctly. So what are we left with? A positive 9x squared, bring down minus 2x. So what are we going to multiply? Plus 3x. Multiply it through, gets us 9x squared minus 9x. So that we know that we subtract correctly, just change all your signs on the bottom, that second line. Yep. Oh, because it's not 3x, it's 9, right? I was just going off what Ben said.
No, I changed it right after.
Like, okay, 9x, right? Not 3x. Thanks. So that gets me 9x squared minus 27x. So change your signs of this bottom line so we know that we're subtracting correctly. So I get how many x's? 25x, bring down a plus 5. Now what are we going to go with? X times what is 25x? 25, so plus 25. Which gets us 25x minus 75. So what's my remainder going to be? Change, change. So 80 is our remainder. So then how do we write that as our answer? So my answer right now is 3x squared plus 9x plus 25. But we can't just put R80 because we're in advanced algebra, not elementary school.
It's 80 over x.
It is. So it's going to put you're going to put your remainder over top of whatever is in your denominator or your divisor. So it's plus 80 over x minus 3 in that problem. Like, because this would be 61 and 1/3 would be my actual answer, right, in this problem. So you take your remainder and put it over your divisor. Okay, let's do one more where my missing term is in the divisor instead. So last one. So here we're taking 6r to the 4th plus 9r to the 3rd plus 2r squared minus 8r plus 7. And we're going to divide it by 3r squared minus 2. So my first polynomial is okay, right? 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. No gap. But here I have a gap, don't I? 2, 1, 0. So I'm missing the 1, the linear term. So I'm going to put a 0 there in place of it for my space filler. So 3r squared plus 0r plus 2, or minus 2, is being divided into 6r to the 4th plus 9r to the 3rd plus 2r squared minus 8r plus 7. And if you don't put in the zeros there, you're going to work through it and you're going to have this red flag saying, oh, something's not matching up here, I'm missing something. So then rethink, where am I missing something? Put a 0 where you're missing it. All right, so what do I multiply 3r squared by to get to 6r to the 4th? 2r to the 2nd. Multiply it through, gets us 6r to the fourth plus 0r to the third minus 4r squared change all your signs so we know that we're subtracting correctly. So what are we left with? How many r to the thirds? 9. How many r squareds? So 9r to the third plus 6r squared. Always bring down something, so bring down your minus 8r. Now what are we going to multiply 3r squared by to get to 9r squared, or to the third? 3r. Multiply it through. 9r to the third plus 0r squared minus 6r. Change all your signs so we know we're subtracting correctly. How many r squareds? 6r squared minus 2r. Last time through. What do I need to multiply by?
Wait, is that 0?
No, 2.
Yeah, that's a 0. Just multiply by a 2. So multiplying through gets us 6r squared plus 0r minus 4. So what would you be left with for your remainder?
You're left with
Negative 2r plus... Oh, I didn't bring the 7 down. Oops. Good catch. Plus 7, so plus 11. So what's my answer going to be?
It's going to be 2r squared plus 3r plus 2 with a remainder of negative 2r plus 11 over 3r squared.
Good. So now you can either just put plus and then do negative 2r plus 11 over 3r squared minus 2. Or you could just write it as minus 2r plus 11 over 3r squared minus 2. Either works. I just get in the habit of always putting a plus there and then just put whatever it is, whether it's a negative. You can see the same thing. Okay? So look for those gaps in both polynomials. If they are there, fill them in with a 0 and whatever the degree is that you're missing in the variable.